Good morning, Cincinnati, and welcome into another episode of the Bearcat Brunch, coming to you live from the Cincy Light Studios and brought to you, as always, by our wonderful partners at Royal Links Golf Tours. Have you always wanted to play golf at St. Andrews? Have you ever enjoyed that perfect pint of Guinness? Well, now you can, thanks to Royal Links Golf Tours. They are a premier golf tour specialist, offering unforgettable golf experiences to Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales. Their custom itineraries are more than golf trips. They are immersive, cultural, and country experiences that will surprise and delight you both on and off the course. Royal Links Golf Tours is owned by former Bearcat quarterback Hayden Moore and his partner, UC alum Jeff Bartholomew. So if you'd like to play St. Andrews or enjoy that perfect pint in Ireland, please visit their website at royallinksgolftours.com or call them direct at 770-331-1525. And with that, we are back to recap the third Bearcats loss in a row, officially eliminating them from any sort of Big 12 title contention as they drop what felt like the first nip at night in a long time to the BYU Cougars 26-14. Just like the Bearcats offense in the second half, Jeff is also MIA. And Aaron is under the weather. So
that was good.
I will hopefully be doing this solo and not making Aaron participate too much. But we're here to recap another very frustrating loss as the Bearcats squandered several opportunities offensively to get points on the board, to keep themselves in what was still a tight game, a one-score game with 4.5 minutes left. But unfortunately could not make the plays to, upset the number 11 BYU Cougars. And I think that is really just the overarching theme, especially over these last couple of weeks, that there were opportunities to be made and a lot of opportunities out there, and they just did not get it done. Yesterday, I believe it was 5 offensive possessions that reached, I won't say the red zone, but I think inside the 30 of BYU, and you got 0 points. You had a turnover on downs at the 3-yard line. You had a fumble later in the game, and then you had 3 missed field goals, 3 uncharacteristic missed field goals. The last one, not really on Steven Resnick, poor hold. But anyway you slice it, it's another game where the Bearcats have opportunities to get points on the board against a good team, against a good defense, and they can't get it done. And it's 20-14, and you're sitting there going, man, they had all the chances in the world to put themselves in position, and they keep not being able to convert, not being able to make the plays when they're needed to be made. There was a lot that I didn't understand yesterday at various points, whether it be offense or defense. Special teams, outside of a very brave Manny Covey punt return, was
ballsy.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. You got to make a play. I mean, you got to have confidence.
Nothing else was working, so
right.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the guy for doing it.
But outside of that, I mean, you had 3 missed field goals. Obviously, you had I won't call it back-breaking, but a pretty damning, just careless, unnecessary offsides on a punt penalty on 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, gives the ball back to BYU. They burn more clock, end up kicking a red zone field goal. And the special teams gave you no help. Again, in a game that you need all 3 components of the team to be operating at a high level. But, I mean, this was just a very much an offensive, again, not being able to put really anything together. I do want to give kudos to Cyrus Allen on what was a fantastic individual play on the touchdown catch with a great and innovative route concept, little
Double
inside
move.
twirling type of fake
Yeah.
out type play that was very fun and very good. But other than that, I mean, we talked about it Wednesday night. I thought the key was to be able to run the ball. They basically abandoned the run in a close game. Your two running backs, I think, combined for 12 carries, 13 carries. You ran the ball for 83 net yards, 3.8 yards a carry. Yeah, we've talked about the more Sorsby throws the ball, the less success they have. I think they are now 0-4 or 1-4 in the 5 games that he has the most passing attempts this season. And this one, I didn't really understand I mean, it was a close. It was not a game where you're like, oh, well, we need to just throw it every down to get back into the game, to where we can just have such a crazy split of, I think, like I said, 12 carries, 13 carries to, I want to say 38 pass attempts. Is that the number? I mean, it was. Now again, that was elevated a little bit by
Yes.
the end of the game. You're trying to move the ball and trying to score, but he felt off most of the game with his accuracy on most throws. It was just a little high here, a little outside there. Again, you have Joe Royer, I believe, getting his first target well into the fourth quarter. I don't know what to say about that at this point. I think he has 4 catches or 5 catches in the last 4 games.
He had 2 in this one. I feel like the first one came earlier than that, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well, that shows you how just not involved.
13 yards, yeah, it's nothing doing. That's you gave him a little. It's senior night sympathy, apparently. I don't know.
He, two targets instead of just his typical one. I don't know what's going on there. I really don't understand what happened at the end of the first half. You take over in an under 2-minute situation, and your two most explosive players are on the sideline in Evan Pryor and Cyrus Allen. Up until the 4th down play, 4th and short, then you run them in on that play where you run the ball, get the first down, and then right after that, and this was a repeated theme all night, slow in getting personnel changes in. It felt like they wanted to go tempo at times, but then were slow in changing out who they wanted in the game, which then allowed BYU to delay their substitutions, which is, I mean, Sorsby said it's annoying, but that's how the rules have been set up. That you can run a guy in and then wait a beat or a second or two, and then run another guy in and wait. I felt like that's what they were doing a lot. It wasn't 3 guys running on the field at the same time, 3 guys running off the field at the same time. It was, all right, UC subbed. So we're going to send one guy in. Now we're going to wait a second. We're going to send another guy in, wait another second. Now the third guy comes in. All the other guys can sit there and kind of stagger their way off the field. And, we had to burn a timeout in the first half doing it. And it happened again in the second half, but it was a false start on Joe Cotton. They were going to let us get the play off. They snapped it with 1 second left, but he false started. But it was just didn't understand anything going on in that sequence there to try to end the half. Z-Fly mentions that someone should let them know that Steven Rusnick isn't great from the left hash. Maybe that should be in your game planning notes and situational notes and whatnot. But Sorsby had the arm punt interception and then just felt off most of the game. I mean, he compiled some numbers and definitely had some nice throws in there, but I didn't, Aaron, I don't know what you thought, but I didn't think the BYU defense is very good. They read the wide stuff very, very well. But I didn't see a team where I was like, man, we just can't move the ball on these guys.
No,
I didn't see an Arizona Utah level performance, especially in the secondary that we saw the last couple of weeks.
Chad and I talked about that last night. I felt like they ran a little bit more zone than maybe I anticipated. But I think a lot of it came just due to the pressure, and then Chad brought up that the guys that they had on your outside just weren't locked down corners like you had with Utah, with Arizona, with Nebraska. So you had to run a little bit more zone because of that. That said, you found ways to expose it. The touchdown pass to Caldwell, that was breaking that zone, just finding the slant in between the safety and the linebackers there. So they exposed it all night. But again, that's going back to a little bit more zone than man.
Right. And offensively, this is now here's your offensive stat of the night / Big 12 season. Third quarter outscored 65-23. And we've played 8 Big 12 games. You've scored 23 points in the third quarter. 4 games they scored 0. So half the games they haven't scored in the third quarter. I feel like we've talked about it ad nauseum of it's an offensive, coming into the season, it's an offensive-based team. You can't not score points in half of your Big 12 games in 15 minutes of play. Yesterday, in the second and third quarter combined, they had the ball for 8 minutes and 33 seconds out of 30 minutes. 4 minutes and 10 seconds in one quarter, 4 minutes and 23 seconds in another.
Terrible.
And the last one, the third, and they started the third quarter with the ball, so it wasn't even a fact of that the other team started it like they have typically had a 5, 6, 7 minute drive. Or no, they started it with the ball and still only had the ball for less than 4.5 minutes. You got ran up on by BYU. I mean, we'll get into the defense, here in a little bit. Roy asked, did you guys really think they were getting the ball back after cutting the lead to 6? No, not really. But for everything that had happened, you had 3 timeouts and 4.5 minutes to get the ball back and try to go win the game. So
the way LJ Martin was running, though, it was hard to envision a world where you were getting the ball back.
If you tell me, I feel like this is the first time that we've pulled this one out. Last year's Bearcat Brunch was if you told me that this happened and they still lost, that was the theme all of last year. But
yeah,
if you told me that you were going to be down 6 with 4.5 minutes left and 3 timeouts, and a quarterback who looked like he was nursing some level of pain in his shoulder, knowing that they probably weren't going to throw the ball, and had a running back that had ran for 150, 170 yards up until that last drive, if you'd have told me that we're going to see a whole lot of 5 and 6 men in the box on that drive, I'd have told you we weren't going to get the ball back.
Yeah,
I thought the defense did.
I don't know what the thought process was there.
I thought the defense did everything you could have asked them to do for the first 56 minutes of the game. You held the number 11 team in the country to 20 points at home without forcing a turnover. Without having them do anything fluky to contribute to them not being able to score. I don't know what else you could ask the defense to do. Now, at the end, I sent off a tweet about it. I was like, were you afraid that they were going to throw the ball over your head? Like, so what? So you lose. So they scored anyway. Big deal. You've got 5 and 6 guys when it should be 8 or screw it, 8 or 9. Obviously, you're not going to leave receivers uncovered. So if they had 3 receivers, you're going to at least cover the 3 receivers. But they were not throwing the ball. And Bear Bachmeyer was not running the ball unless he absolutely had to. I think he ran the ball one time on that drive. And for positive yards. On one play, I think they, or it might have been the drive before, where they actually read it well and stuffed him. But they were giving the ball to LJ Martin, and you've got 3 down linemen and 2 linebackers, or 3 down linemen and 3 linebackers around the line of scrimmage. I'm just at a loss on that particular drive. I mean, that's 2 drives where the drive before half on offense and that drive defensively where you really just question like what is the thought process behind what we're doing in those situations.
Yeah, I think we're all left scratching our heads, because you kind of it was kind of the theme of the night where you have an opportunity to do something in this game, and rather than take advantage of the opportunity given, you just continue to get in your own way.
Well, you don't even give yourself a chance in that case.
Yeah,
like I'm not necessarily. I mean, sure, could the players need to make plays? I mean, in the first half, I'm getting like the Bearcat Journal mentions are blowing up about Satterfield, and I'm like, Satterfield did not block anybody on 4th and 1 from the 3-yard line and miss pretty easy kicks. Like, players got to make plays too. I'll criticize and critique all sides of things, like the personnel groupings at the end of the first half, or what you're doing defensively at the end of the game, but could they have played the run fits better in those situations? Probably. Did LJ Martin break some tackles? Well, yeah, he's 6'2", 220. He breaks tackles in every game he plays. But you're not even giving your guys a chance to get the ball back when they're probably in some level of heavy personnel. Probably at least one tight end, maybe 2 tight ends in that clock-killing situation. And they're outnumbering you in the run game. How do you think you're going to stop him? The touchdown was inconsequential to me because at that point they could have just kneeled it and the game would have been over.
Right.
So him breaking the run doesn't matter. It was the series leading up to the down and distances leading up to that are the problem. Them having the ball under 2 minutes, getting the first down with us having no timeouts left, and him breaking a run. That doesn't matter because 50% of the teams hand the ball off, 50% just take a knee. It was the stuff that allowed them to get to that point that is the very frustrating / infuriating part, because it feels like you're just not aware of what's going on. That the quarterback probably isn't going to run the ball. They're certainly not going to throw the ball, and you just don't give yourself a realistic chance to stack the box and potentially force them to do something that they don't want to do. But, in the first half, guys didn't make plays offensively. You're in position to have the lead in another game that you need to win, and you just don't make the plays.
Yeah.
And now, stealing this, they're now 0. I believe this is accurate because I think it was 0-15 going into the game, and so now 0-16.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In the last 3 years, when trailing at halftime, they're now 1-10 in the last 3 years in November. So you're on pace to do the 6-game losing streak ending last year to the start of this year, followed by a 6-game winning streak or 7-game winning streak, and then potentially finishing it with another 5-game losing streak. You're on 3. You got 2 more games. That is, I don't even know what you call that, because that's you don't see that very much or ever.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to put this one on Satterfield last night, but he is the coach, so it's just
it starts from the top. I mean, there's certain elements of it that are very much on the staff, but you know, it's an old cliche. You can't get rid of all the players, you know. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to turn this into a what this format and this show is not the basis of this show is not the look ahead, the big picture type thing. This is the talk about the season, talk about the game type of show. But I just, you know, you're staring at the exact same thing that happened last year, and when things like that, and they can, I don't distrust the players when they say we're different, we have, we're more bonded, we can persevere through this stuff. I don't distrust them. I mean, Gavin Gerhardt has said it multiple times. Like, this team is different than last year's team. The losses don't affect us in the same, negative, destructive, cumulative way. But the bottom line is, you've played 3 of the 4. I guess I would, I think this is fair to say, 3 of the 4 or 5 best teams in the conference the last 3 weeks, and you haven't been able to get it done. In one game, you weren't really competitive at all, and in the other 2, you were competitive, but you made so many critical errors or didn't capitalize on situations that you're kind of just in the same situation. You can tell me the team is different, but the team is doing the exact same thing the team did at this time last year.
Well, at some point you also have to find ways to make up for those mistakes. And it doesn't feel like they're making those types of plays to make up for those mistakes either. Like last week, you had the Christian Harrison where you're there to make a play, either intercept the ball or knock it down. You don't do that, it ends up going the other way for Arizona. In this one, you had several opportunities at interceptions, and you're unable to come up with anything. You haven't had when was the last time we had a turnover? Well, it feels like the last one was the pick 6.
It feels like it. They did get 2 in the Utah game. One real turnover. The other turnover was we turned it over, and then their guy turned it back over to us, trying to return it. But I mean, the defense forced a turnover in the Utah game. But right. I mean, we're playing these teams. BYU, Arizona, 14 interceptions each coming into the game. Each game respectively. We're sitting down there in the 2-3 whatever. You're not giving yourself opportunities to against good teams. You're never going to play perfect, and that's the frustrating part, is that you're playing good teams. I mean, Arizona is a very good team. They did it again to Baylor last night. Yesterday afternoon. They're 8-3, probably going to beat Arizona State. Finish 9-3. BYU's in playoff contention. Utah's in playoff contention. These are good teams. These are teams you want to measure yourself against. And the frustration is not in that we're nowhere near these teams. And, like year 1, year 2 a little bit in the Big 12. The frustration is not that we're 3 years in and we're non-competitive. The frustration is that we're 3 years in and we are competing, but we continue to make critical errors on top of not being able to make game-changing plays. Utah, for as much as I thought the defense was fine yesterday, I mean, again, you give up 20 for 56 minutes against them. I'm not saying you should win, but you should be right there. Offensively, this offense should be scoring more than 20 points. Let's just put it that way, regardless of who they're playing.
Agree. Yeah, I agree.
And you're making the errors and not making the plays to change games. And some of your errors are serious game-changing plays. I mean, it's 2nd and 19. and they complete a 9-yard pass to set up 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, and you get a face mask call. You jump off sides on a punt.
Right.
Like, I understand wanting to try to make a play by blocking a punt, but you have to be smarter than that. You have to, to not line up off sides. Like, seriously, it's not that hard to not line up off sides. There's an official on each end that usually will try to tell you that, hey, you're in the neutral zone, back up. They don't want you making those types of errors. And it's the team continues to get in its own way at times and not be able to make game-winning plays. I mean, in this stretch, we harped so much on, to beat these teams, your best players have to play their best. And whether it's been guys on offense, guys on defense, or situationally, they're not. And it's a cumulative thing. I mean, it's not cumulative isn't the right word. It's an all-encompassing thing. You want to bag on the players. You want to bag on the coaches. I'm fine with however you personally want to assess what's going on, because it's not good enough. You can't be in the situation that they put themselves in, and maybe talking Big 12 title was a fool's errand, but they put themselves in that position to at least have that conversation of, if you do what you need to do, it's a possibility. And you don't have to rely on other teams doing certain things to help you out. And they totally just gagged it away. They were not up for the challenge of playing these better teams in the conference with realistic stakes on the line at the end of the season. And that is concerning, because it wasn't the same situationally last year. They weren't in contention last year, but as the season wore on again, we have now seen 2 years in a row where this team cannot make plays, makes too many errors. As the season rolls on, as the competition in this case this season ramped up significantly, and it's on everybody. It's on the coaching staff for not putting them in the best positions, and it's on the players for, when they are put in these positions, for not executing.
Yeah, it was last year was certainly a different way that you fell from your win streak into the second half of the season. It just didn't seem like they were even on the same level as the teams they were playing last year. Whereas this year you had the opportunities, and especially in these last two games, and you simply, execution hasn't been there at all.
No, you just look at yesterday's game. Look at, in a game that was a 3-6 tie 3-6 whatever point game for the vast majority of the game. Just stack up all the things, errors that you see made, and I'm always reluctant to do the whole, if we just did, we shot ourselves in the foot. If we didn't do that, we would have won. Like, that feels to me always of, we're just not even going to bother giving the other team credit for playing well.
Right.
But at the same time, look at yesterday specifically. BYU had no influence in them missing 3 field goals. BYU had influence in, Cyrus Allen fumbling, had influence in them not being able to pick up a fourth and short. But those are situations that, you're thinking you're one of the best offensive lines in the country. And Tyree Walker ran the ball, I think, 5 times for 8 or 9 yards. Evan Pryor had one nice run where he, got a cutback, and they really didn't run the ball well at all.
No.
And I thought that was the spot that they were going to be able to have the most success in. I mean, I was clearly wrong. But you just stack up all the errors that had nothing to do with BYU. Offsides on a punt. the end of the first half, whatever that was, the end of the game defensively, whatever that was. And what were the big errors that BYU committed that really helped us stay in the game? They really didn't.
There was a couple passes that were very errant on Bear Bachmeyer, but since I was not in a position to again make the interception, or
right, but they were errors that they made, but they had no consequences.
Right.
So yeah, I mean they clearly didn't play a perfect game. They scored 20 points in 50-something minutes, and probably were frustrated about several different things that they were doing, but nothing that they did wrong really hurt them. Of what little they did do wrong, so
gotta capitalize on those. And again, that's the same thing that we've been talking about. Is Cincinnati doesn't capitalize on those moments, and you're left here.
No, whether it's 3 straight possessions in the second quarter last week, whether it's just kind of last night was more of a cumulative. There wasn't a specific moment where I ever felt, oh, we're screwed now because we let these consecutive opportunities slip away like I felt last week. Like I felt last week, they lost the game by not being able to take advantage of, the second quarter. And last night it was more so of just they lost the game because they moved the ball fairly well and got into scoring position and then just couldn't score.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know where you necessarily take it from here, because I thought TCU was kind of dead frog walking, so to speak, and then they go into Houston, and Houston missed 2 field goals at the end of the game that would have tied it or potentially won it. That I'm not sure that they're that great, but after the way TCU played last week against BYU, where it felt like they mailed that sucker in pretty early, they certainly did not yesterday, and now they get a home game. UC is now, I think, lost 4 straight senior games, which is always frustrating because that means you're losing 4 straight home games to end the season, and you're going to go on the road, where we all know it's not easy to win on the road. Just ask Kansas State, and you run for 470 yards and don't win. That's
crazy.
That's rough, but
crazy.
Now you're going to Fort Worth to try to stop to try to keep a 3-game losing streak from turning into a 4-game losing streak, and. The last couple of years, I've always said it's less about the win-loss total to me and more about how it happens and how it feels. Because if you tell me going into the season 7-5, I'm going, okay, there's probably some legitimate progress there, and it's a win less than I would like, but it would tell me it's headed in at least a somewhat right direction. But if you tell me it's 7-5 when you lose your last 4 games, then that's a totally different feeling to me.
You still have the opportunity for 8-4.
You do, but I'm just saying, if go on the road, and this is kind of the the old I see better than I hear kind of show me thing. You guys have all off season, love Nico to death. He talked every time he joined you guys. He talked about how it was different. Gerhard has been very out front in talking about how it's different. Okay, go show us. Go to Dallas and win. Go to TCU and win against a team that has some talent, but is right there with you. You're in that second tier, middling tier of the conference right now.
Yeah.
Go show everybody that we lost 3 in a row and did a lot of it to ourselves, but played some better teams, and we're going to be playing one of the better teams still this week. Go show the fan base that we're different than we were last year. Because you're right, 8-4 totally different. You end the year regular season with a win on the road. That means you would have gone 3-1 on the road in conference. Your only loss would have been at Houston. I would have absolutely taken that in the preseason because there was a huge issue with going on the road and winning in conference. So yeah, if you go on the road, not Houston, Utah, sorry, and you go 3-1 on the road and your only loss is to college football playoff hopeful Utah, I'm not mad at that one bit.
You could even mess around and go 9-4.
Then yes, you could. But I don't care about bowl games, so
I know you don't.
What happens in bowl games, good or bad?
Stays in bowl games.
I mean, they've always been exhibitions. They are now the most exhibition of exhibitions. So I take nothing from it. So next week is the game. But no, you're right. Like I don't want to sell them short. I don't want to say that it's a foregone conclusion or anything. That's not fair. So they absolutely have the chance to go get that done and just prove to themselves. I don't think they really care whether they prove to me or you or anybody else, but end your season with a win, end your regular season at 8-4, and then you can stamp that we had a rough stretch and we bounced back and we got a win to end the year. So, but from a fan's perspective and a confidence perspective, you're not going to be confident that that's going to happen. But that's on the players to prove that and to bounce back, and the coaching staff to put them in the best positions to win the game. But yeah, yesterday felt like a lot of just executional issues, not being able to convert on the money downs, and then sprinkled in with some certainly head-scratching moments that leave you wondering kind of what is the operating procedure in some of these situations. But did I miss anything? Did you guys talk about anything in the what time did the aftermath go to last night?
2 a.m.
Oh, did you have anyone there with you?
There was, it was, I think we ended up with, I don't know, 50, 60 people at peak.
The real sickos, huh?
Something like that.
But yeah, these games have not necessarily needed a lot of over analyzation. It's been pretty cut and dry what the problems have been. So, figuring that out going into next week when you're going to play an offense that has a very solid quarterback, a couple really good wide receivers, it could certainly be tested more. I mean, BYU's longest pass play was the 26-yard dump off to LJ Martin on their first drive of the game.
That dude's a monster.
He's awesome. I mean, 6'2", 220. He's an imposing force, which again makes me wonder what we're doing on that last drive from an alignment and personnel standpoint.
Great question.
But go get a win. I don't want to talk about losses anymore. It was a lot of fun talking about 7 straight wins, and now we've talked losses 3 weeks in a row. It gets harder and harder to, especially after a late game, to get up and do this podcast when you got to talk about another loss. So please, I know you get it on both ends. Stay up late to talk about it. Come on here early to, unfortunately, this morning talk about it under the weather.
Thanks, Jeff.
Does Jeff have something written in his contract that he doesn't have to come on the day after late games? Do we need to look at that? It feels like he pulled this after the Utah game too.
I don't know the answer to that.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm getting my weeks mixed up, but we might have to look at the fine print of his Bearcat Brunch contract. So it feels like he escapes these late night, early show days. But
it does.
That's about all I got. I think we hit it all. I don't, belabor the issues, but we'll see. I guess we'll see today what time this post Thanksgiving game is. I don't believe that the time has been released yet, but we'll get that up as soon as we know it.
Still TBD as far as I'm seeing.
But around the nation yesterday, not a lot of action. Obviously I had a hard time putting together the 6-pack Wednesday night. Oh, Josh is saying 3:30.
Is that announced, Borkowski?
That would be splendid. But around the nation yesterday, not a lot of good games, I don't think. Unless I'm just totally missing something, other than the Utah-Kansas State game that I did not see because we were tailgating at the same time. But that thing was pretty wild. And for Utah to come back and win, because why not? I actually want to start.
Just posted on Twitter, game on Fox.
Notre Dame, Syracuse. Did you see this game?
I saw the score. I didn't watch any games yesterday.
Notre Dame was up 21-0 and had not run an offensive play. They returned 2 interceptions for a touchdown and a punt, and then had a punt return for a touchdown. They were up 35-0 and had run 2 offensive plays. And I believe it was 42-0 or 49-0 and had run 5 offensive plays.
That's crazy.
They ended up winning 70-7. I believe Syracuse scored a touchdown with under a minute to go. I really like Fran Brown too, but and what he's done at Syracuse, and he's not been helped by a starting quarterback getting injured much earlier in the season and being out for the year. But that is not a good look any way you want to slice it. That's a hard one to try to do let's hire this guy. A week after his team lost 70-7, that would be a hard one to pull off with your fan base. But that jumped out to me, and I want to give my Vols some credit. They ended a streak that I didn't know that they ever would, and that is losing in Gainesville. They won in Gainesville for the first time since 2003, when the Iceman Jimmy Clausen was quarterbacking the Big Orange.
Maybe the most punchable face in the history of college football.
Loved him. Loved the Iceman. But Vols surprisingly get it done. I was very nervous about that game, figuring that they would lose to Navandy and just fart out a real nice 7-5er. But they dominated. We're up 28 or 31-0 at halftime, won 31-11. So good on you, Tennessee Vols, ending a miserable streak of losses in Gainesville. So long ago, I was actually still in school then. That's how long ago that was. Oh, we had a field storming in Madison last night. Team did get a big upset win over fraudulently 21st ranked Illinois. Like, what are we doing with some of these? I mean, I don't care about the rankings. I've never cared about them, but what are we doing ranking some of these teams at the back end of the top 25 just because they're from a power conference? But good on team. Storm that field.
It's been a rough year for them up there.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was a lot of SEC in their SoCon Saturday. You had games against Charlotte's not in that bracket, but games against Texas A&M, games against Mercer. LSU played maybe one of the ugliest games ever, 13-10 over Western Kentucky.
Cupcake Saturday.
Pittsburgh, got to talk about the Pitt Panthers. They smoked Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech's defense has literally just stopped playing the last month of the season. Just cannot stop anybody. That was 28-0 right out of the chute. I think we're now looking at Virginia, SMU, Pitt as your most likely ACC title game participants. Don't hold me to that because that conference is psycho and that could be totally wrong. But I feel like that's what I saw or what I think. And, Louisville has lost a bunch in a row now. Again, they were non-competitive with a backup quarterback against SMU yesterday. That was easy money if you're on the board.
I got the standings pulled up. It is Virginia, Pitt, SMU all sitting at 6-1.
Oregon in the game excuse me, in the game of the day from a playoff and just overall, I think it might have been the only ranked versus. No, I think there were two ranked versus ranked because I think Oklahoma, Missouri was ranked versus ranked.
Correct.
But in the biggest game of the day, Oregon it was 14-14, but then they jumped out and pretty much dominated the rest of the way. 42-27 over USC. That will essentially knock USC out of the playoff race and should lock in Oregon. Even if they lost with that win, you now have a top 15 win. Even if they lost, I believe they play Washington next week
They do.
Even if they lost that game, Washington's not a bad team. I think they beat UCLA late last night. 48-14. So they're 8-3. They're going to be ranked. I'm assuming Oregon I feel like is comfortably in now. Michigan got a needed win at Maryland because they play Ohio State next week, so they're still on the bubble of making the field. So I think the Big Ten is probably down to 3 locks and 1 maybe. And then, which would be pretty wild if Michigan loses, doesn't get in, and the Big Ten only ended up with 3 teams in.
I'm, as always, rooting for Michigan in the game.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, if they won it last year, they can win it this year. Because they were terrible last year, and they're not terrible this year. Ohio State, I feel like, was better at that point of the season last year. I mean, they played around with their food a little bit yesterday with Rutgers, especially in the first half. And then it's at Michigan. Like, if they can win it last year, they can win it this year. So, always interesting to see how tight Ryan Day's shorts get in this game. But again, there's not a ton to even talk about. Tulane whipped Temple. North Texas won. East Carolina lost, got destroyed by UTSA. So we could now see a little bit of movement in the American. You're looking at North Texas, Tulane, and Navy are all 6-1. Everybody else has 2 losses. North Texas plays Temple. Tulane plays Charlotte, who's atrocious. Navy plays Memphis, so that's your game. Navy at Memphis. If Memphis wins, then you're looking at a Tulane North Texas conference championship game, assuming they both beat pretty average to bad teams. The The one I didn't see a final on was James Madison was in it with Washington State, and they're in the running for the Group of 5 bid as well. They won 24-20, so they stay because they were ranked 21st. I believe that was the highest Group of 5 ranked team in the last edition of the polls, of the last CFP poll. So they're keeping themselves in it. But I mean, yesterday was not. Texas hammered Arkansas. Vandy hammered Kentucky. They're both keeping themselves in position to potentially make the playoff. Oklahoma State couldn't get it done down in Orlando. Made me a little sad. They had a 14-7 lead in the fourth quarter and couldn't hold on. The fighting Frosts got it done. I mean, the slate that was bad going in and ended up being bad. There's not a whole lot of games even worth recapping.
I saw Miles Montgomery going after one of the trolliest trolls of UCF Twitter after the game.
Who was the troll?
Oh, I forget the guy's name.
Did he actually use like his own name and everything?
Yeah. Hang on, I can find it real quick here. I'm sure.
What was Miles saying? Was he sticking up for his teammates?
It was John Swift. He's a terrible.
Not familiar with his work.
I've seen him around. He's one. Anyway, he was mad that he said it was cringy that Miles Montgomery did a belt to ass after a terrible offensive game. And Miles Montgomery said, our motto this year is win by 1 or win by 100. We consider it a butt whooping. And he said, respectfully, sir, never question my leadership.
I love it. Get him, Miles.
Yeah,
you got him. Get him. What did Miles put up in that game?
He put up.
Where's old Miles' stats here?
18 for 81.
There you go. That's a pretty solid outing.
And 20 yards receiving.
There you go. So 100 yards from scrimmage. Good on you, Miles. Good on you. Yeah, Josh, should be some amazing vibes for UK Louisville next week. One coach who the native son who is not having a very good season, and the other coach who is coaching like he has a $37 million buyout all paid due within 30 days of him getting fired. So
should be interesting vibes at the Egg Bowl as well.
Oh, dude, Lane is, I mean,
doing Lane things.
What ESPN is doing is just so gross. Like trotting Saban out there to talk about how it's the timing is like Lane is doing this because this is how Lane does life. It has nothing to do like this is all self-inflicted. This is all has nothing to do with the calendar or timing. It's you guys all share the same agent, so you're going to go out there and trumpet your the agent's clients. A guy that I follow a lot in college football, Stephen Godfrey, was joking that he's not going to be surprised if Lane announces what he's doing like on game day next week.
Lane he's there's not many like him.
And it all goes back to I know you'll agree because you're a fan. Everything is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like
just promo after promo with that guy.
I mean, you put out a statement that we're going to deal with this after the Egg Bowl, so puts even more onus on it. You know that I think the reporting is accurate. There's a near $100 million offer from LSU sitting on the table. I also believe it's accurate that they've already greenlit Ed Orgeron to be his defensive line coach at LSU, which they're, for anybody that doesn't know, they're very close.
I still wonder how much he's kind of stringing Florida along, as they canceled a volleyball game to clear out the arena where the volleyball team plays for the day after the Egg Bowl as well. So
here's the thing. He's doing what he should be doing. Like, if you're wanted, why would you disqualify anybody?
Just keep telling them all the right things.
Yeah, you never know who's going to just get real dumb and offer you something real stupid. I think I like Lane. I think Lane's a good coach, but like, we're about to make him the highest paid coach in college football, and he's never been to the playoff and never been to the SEC championship game. Seems a bit, out of whack. But if I'm Lane, I'm going, oh yeah, Florida baby, I love you. LSU, I've always dreamt about coaching LSU. All your coaches except Brian Kelly win national championships. And Ole Miss, I love you too. This is where I found myself. And this is where, everybody says don't mess with Happy. Well, I don't want to mess with Happy. It's like, of course he's doing all this.
That was really funny. I felt like I was actually having a conversation with Lane in the last couple minutes there.
I'm about to go do some hot yoga as soon as we get off here, and be just like Lane. Send off some troll tweets, and
unreal.
But yeah, it'll be interesting the next week or so, because we've certainly had more teams say. Baylor said this week, I think in large part due to not having an AD all of a sudden. Timing is everything for Dave Aranda. I'd still probably make a move, but I can understand the hesitancy of them. Obviously, we had, Fickle is coming back. I think you're still going to – I think Florida State is the big one that's still looming. What happens there? Potentially Michigan State. I think that's – and then you're just talking about carousel. Who takes what? What does that mean for other jobs? It had the potential to be an all-timer. I don't think we're going to reach that now with some of the decisions of coaches to re-sign or / their universities decide to keep them around one more year. Which I always get a crack at is, we're going to keep them, and now we're gonna give them money. Now we're gonna fund the program the way it should be funded. So no, Norvell certainly did not. But that's about all I have. Do we have any? I know there was it was behind a paywall, unfortunately, but there was an article that I retweeted this week about Alec Pierce.
Gonna get paid, Alec Pierce?
I hope so. I hope all these guys get paid. Hope some Bearcats in the NFL today. I'm really looking forward to watching, my guy Drake May against this great vaunted Bengals defense. That should be a doozy.
The Colts play the Chiefs today, so you'll see.
That's a fun one. Oh, Bearcats everywhere.
Yeah, Bearcats on both sides of the ball there. Outside of that,
Eric Wilson, Ivan Pace having good years defensively for the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings play the Packers.
Chris Moore was at the game last night.
How he's still in the league is crazy.
Awesome.
Cleveland plays Vegas today.
Oh my God, please don't watch that.
But you'll have Jerome Ford and.
If you like football, don't watch that.
You'll have Jerome Ford and Trey Tucker.
That's right.
Tucker, who is your number one receiver there somehow.
Well, Brock Bowers is your number one receiver there.
Well, by definition, he is your number one receiver on the depth chart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was not prepared to be on this show today, so I did not have any Bearcats in the NFL from
not
last week.
expect you to be, but that should wrap it up. Not much else to say. Bearcats lose 26-14. Drop their third in a row. Currently 7-4, going to Fort Worth to try to get off the losing streak and finish the year strong. Thank you, as always, to everybody that joins the chat. Love having you guys in here in the morning, even after a tough loss. Thank you to Aaron for jumping in and helping out. Cincy Light, Royal Links Golf Tours, as always, and we will see you back next Sunday for the final regular season Bearcat Brunch of the 2025 season. Thanks again, and have a great Sunday.